Utah Republican is very sad that his book banning bill is being used against him. Oh, isn't that interesting?
My.
Now, last December, a Utah parent claimed that the Bible is actually one of the most sex-ridden books around and asked that it be removed from school shelves for review under Utah's law that would ban indecent or pornographic books from school libraries. Now, of course, in practice, it has been used to remove books by mostly LGBTQ+ and Black authors from the shelves. Now, the parent said, I want to thank the Utah legislature and Utah Parents United for making this bad faith process so much easier and way more efficient. Now we can ban all the books, and you don't even need to read them or be accurate about it. Heck, you don't even need to see the book. So now the Utah state rep who sponsored this bill had responded to this, and this is Republican Ken Ivory, who, again, is very sad, and he described the parents' request as just a political stunt that would drain the school resources. Funny how this is one of the few times that Republicans are worried about draining school resources when a lot of their policy is about defunding schools. And, sometimes to the point in some states, like in Kansas, for example, years ago, to the point of where it was unconstitutionally allowed. They defunded it so much that the state constitution forced them to put money back into the schools. And not only that, but of course schools are defunded because you had this push by, unfortunately, both parties to do more charter schools. Charter schools, of course, wealthier parents will take their kids out of public schools, put them into charter schools, and then, well, they won't care. They actually don't care after they do that about public schools, about funding public schools, and they prefer not to. Now, look, if you're a middle class or upper class person who's taking their kid out of school, they're going to make the argument like, hey, look, why is it fair that I have to pay for a kid that's, pay for kids that are not my own because they went to a charter school? I shouldn't have to pay for both. So you don't want people around you that are educated as well? You don't want other people to have a shot at a good education? I mean, that's kind of my argument to that is you just want everybody else around to not have as good of an education. And so, well, I guess you just want opportunity for your kid only and not everyone else. That's a selfish way to live, isn't it? I would think so. And generally harmful, I think, to the greater society, because we should have, educated people ready for the jobs of the future and to, take humanity forward. But that said, it's apparently not what these conservatives want. And by the way, corporate Democrats as well take money from groups, from charter school corporations. And so they're like, oh yeah, no, charter school is great. That said, I don't want to get into the charter school debate. But let's go further and give another quote here from Mr. Ken Ivory. Let me just stop here. The man's name is Ken Ivory. Let's just appreciate the irony for a second here. Person who's cool with banning not only LGBTQ books, but also books that have to deal with racism. And by the way, affecting a school district, one of which that has been investigated for massive amounts of racism, just happens to be named Ivory. It's a weird coincidence, isn't it? Now, here's what he said. There was a purpose to the bill, and this kind of stuff, it's very unfortunate. Yes, how dare you try to use my bill against me? Very, very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate you figured this out, that, oh no, you can weaponize something against me. I mean, come on. It's almost like Well, 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 if it isn't the consequences of my own actions coming back to haunt me. Potentially, of course. So, look, here's the thing, though. Okay. They're trying to ban, or they, pass this law, they're banning books because they're claiming to be worried about the hypersexualization of children, right? That the thing is that that's not what's happening. Nobody's trying to sexualize children. And telling them that gay people exist, trans people simply exist and are a real thing, that is not sexualization. That's just saying, oh, this is why this person has two dads or two moms. That's not inherently sexual. Okay? But still, he goes on to make that claim. He said, quote, there are any number of studies that directly link sexualization and hypersexualization with sexual exploitation and abuse. Certainly, those are things that we don't want in schools. But they're not in the schools. Nobody wants them in the schools. But again, it's not about that. Nobody wants sexualization and abuse. But again, it's not happening there. If you really want to go after the, sexualization and abuse, you might want to look towards the churches where a lot of abuse happens. It's not really happening in the schools. And by the way, if you remove those books that touch on those topics, say, a book about somebody who experienced that, well, that actually makes it more difficult for the children who are actually in those situations to realize that they're in those situations and to be able to get help to get out of those situations. Look, and by the way, and also for those who are LGBTQ, but don't understand why they're that way, or they don't really know anybody that is openly LGBTQ. And I'm saying, some of these very small town conservative areas, maybe reading these books will help them, and help them be able to make sense of who they are, what they're going through, showing them that they're not alone. That's okay to be who they are, to live their truth. Unfortunately, for some people, they hate that idea. They don't want LGBTQ kids to know that it's okay to be who they are. They want to shame them. They want to punish them. They want to hide them, control them. And look, in the context of, by the way, how the right wing is using this very term, which isn't the actual original meaning, but groom them. So, look, I would think that, to me, religion is a form of, again, if we're using the right-wing definition, groom them. Grooming them into a religion to believe a certain set of principles, right? Again, this is not they're like using two different, I guess, examples of the word groom, two different definitions. And so who's to know which definition they're deciding to use that day? But basically, a lot of them are saying, well, you are grooming the children and transing them. Okay, well, that, first of all, that's not, again, the official definition of grooming. And secondly, that's not actually happening. You can't just turn someone trans or gay. That's not something that's real. And so, but again, that's not how it works. You are who you are, and you usually know that. You usually know that from a pretty young age. And there's, again, studies, there's evidence of that being the case. That said, Utah parents responded to this. Quote, we believe in following the law. That's all we're asking the schools to do. No, it's after you lobbied and got that law passed. Now you're saying, oh, no, I want to, of course, I just want them to follow the law. That's it. I just want them to follow the law that we helped pass that criminalizes, books about LGBTQ people and black people. What? Just follow the law. Just follow the law. Look, the group also claimed that they're not specifically targeting books about racism or LGBTQ plus themes. But of course, that's a lie. That's exactly the result of what's happening. Although there is one ironic result, and we'll go to that. But first, It's noted that among the 52 books that were removed from Alpine School District shelves last summer, it's a different school district, there's at least one that appeared to have been challenged merely due to its title. Here's the irony. Sex. If you're scared of the truth, don't read this. That's the title of the book. That book actually argues in favor of abstinence. Oops. Now, the list also included LGBTQ plus related titles like Maya Kobabe's novel Genderqueer, George M. Johnson's All Boys Aren't Blue, and Jonathan Evanson's Lawn Boy. So, look, here's the thing, though. We know what this is all about, despite what they're saying. It's about eliminating LGBTQ people from existence. And so, in order to do that, first they have to erase all the knowledge of them. You're going after the books. You're going after the books, going after the media, going after care. That's where they start. And so far, a total of 2,571 unique book titles have been targeted by conservative groups for censorship in 2022. That is up 38% from what they had already done in 2021. In fact, according to the American Library Association, the vast majority of the targeted books were written by or were about members of the LGBTQ community and people of color. In fact, here's a statement here from Deborah Caldwell Stone, an ALA director. Overwhelmingly, we're seeing these challenges come from organized censorship groups that target local library board meetings to demand removal of a long list of books they share on social media. Each attempt to ban a book by one of these groups represents a direct attack on every person's constitutionally protected right to freely choose what books to read and what ideas to explore. The choice of what to read must be left to the reader, or in the case of children, their parents. Hey, whatever happened to parents' rights? Do you not believe in parents' rights? Hey, look, if you don't like that book or you don't want your kid reading that book, you don't have to read that book. That's fine. Now, the statement concludes by saying that choice does not belong to self-appointed book police. And that's what it is. What they're doing is saying, instead of leaving it actually up to the parents, and it's the same issue with, taking kids to family-friendly drag shows, right? I don't like that. So no one can see it. I don't like that book. You can't read it. Why the hell can I read it? Who are you to say what I can and cannot read? Who are you to say what I can and cannot take, where I can and cannot take my children, if I theoretically had them? No, make decisions for yourself. That's fine. Stop making decisions for the rest of us. Get your big government censorship out of our lives. Because guess what? I'm an American. And I believe freedom.
USA, USA, USA.
Freedom.